Hello, everybody. This is Skip Elsheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime Streaming Show, where we watch old 16mm films. And happy birthday, Nathan. 45. I remember it fondly. It was a good time. So what we just saw was a tour, an old tour, a couple of years old, of the back of the archive and just the scope of the films. I'm at the archive today, but the scanner's not hooked up because we're moving a lot of stuff around. But I figured I would give you an update on what's going on at 714 Tyler Road, Raleigh, North Carolina. So I'll narrate. So this is the back. Roughly all the racks that you saw were in the back of the archive. In the front is where equipment is and where we work. And so this is the back. There's a kitchen, 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, and this will either be our new offices, we'll migrate back here, or we will make this an apartment. Here is the nasty basement of the archive. And this is, we're doing some work, putting in some new supports. These wooden supports will go away. And there's going to be, we're going to make this a little like a film vault. There's going to be, it's going to be conditioned space, which it wasn't before. There's going to be some pumps and ways to mitigate water and control humidity, which it didn't have before. This is one of the storage units. This is the one I've had the longest. And you see there's a bunch of equipment and films and going out of focus for some reason. Yeah. Here's a bunch of films from Texas, from South Carolina. Those are in the red cans, South Carolina ones. The Texas ones were from the Department of Public Safety. And then there's just a bunch of equipment that we have there. So that's one storage space off of Capitol Boulevard, if you know your Raleigh geography. There's some old, antiquated projectors, of some of which I keep just cannibalized for parts. Some old videotapes. There's a film strip projector. So this is all the films that you saw in that first video have ended up at this storage unit. So this is in your downtown Raleigh. This is storage unit number 1. We got some new racks and experimenting. There's a lot of larges there and mediums. Largest being 1,000 feet or higher, mediums being 800 feet. Here's the second one. Again, a bunch of films and some assorted equipment. It's a little tight in there. So this is the third unit at this one space. And it goes way back. And here's where all the 400-foot reels and 600-foot reels ended up. And it is not very well lit. I have adjusted the video so that you can actually see. Here's a little tight space that I full-heartedly thought I could make my way through with a winter jacket, and I got stuck. So I ended up dumping some films on the floor. Had to go and pick them back up. But yeah, this is, so the vast majority of the films that we saw in that first video that I showed are in those 3 units that you just saw. So there are actually, so that's 4 units you've seen. There's 3 more units at another storage unit that I didn't make it to yesterday, but I will at some point, and you'll get to see some of those. And so those are a bunch of things that I got recently. There's where all the cornet stuff is that I got. So that's the status. When I talk about 7 storage units, that's what we're talking about. When I talk about renovating, that's what we're talking about. Ideally, we will be able to move back in April, move all the stuff back in, but we'll see how that goes. I'm not sure. Anyhow, been blathering on. All right, what do we got next? So you're an operator working for AT&T, and you're slacking off. You're not teaming up. You're not a team player. This film is trying to get you on track. Enjoy.
In all types of operating, there are many opportunities for 2 operators to work together as a team to advance or complete a call. Let's watch a few examples of how this is done in toll dialing. Miss Kelly is going to ask for assistance from one of her teammates. While working on one call, she receives a disconnect signal on another on which time and charge are to be quoted. Since the operator on her left is not busy at the moment, Miss Kelly excuses herself to the customer.
One moment, please. Rita, would you quote the charges on this for me, please?
Surely.
As Miss Kelly releases her recording completing trunk, Rita takes up a switching trunk and key pulses the customer's number. Let's watch Miss Boyle as she takes advantage of an opportunity to team. She is recording a call. Before it can be advanced, she will receive a flashing signal on another connection.
Thank you. One moment, please. Long distance.
I've been cut off, operator.
I'm sorry. I'll try to get Lamar 27044 for you. One moment, please. I have a cutoff. Will you take this other call?
Surely.
The teammate takes up the recording trunk by substituting chords, and each operator advances her call. Let's look at another example of teamwork. Miss Kelly is waiting for the called party to come to the telephone on one call when she notices that it is time to make a subsequent attempt on another.
Dot, will you try this call for me?
Surely.
The teammate advances the call. Then, because she is unable to reach a multiple appearance of the switching trunk, she releases it and secures the calling line on her own position. Let's look at still another example of teamwork. Miss Boyle has just finished recording a call when a disconnect signal appears on a connection from a coin telephone, which has gone into overtime.
One moment, please.
She stamps the ticket and collects the initial deposit.
I have overtime to collect. Will you take this other call for me? It's on Charlestown 104.
Surely. Okay.
Her teammate advances the call while Miss Boyle secures the overtime deposit. This has demonstrated a few situations where skillful operators team to furnish their customers speedy service and at the same time use the circuits efficiently.
There you go. Thank you, Rick, for joining Patreon. That's one way that you can support us. Patreon's like a tip jar subscription, and there's info right there on how to support us. You can also support us by the Super Thanks button or by ko-fi.com/avgeeks. You can also just watch other films that we have online. All right. Sing along, everybody, because yesterday is over your shoulder. Enjoy.
Yesterday is over your shoulder, looked around the day. I might have done We all know this man, but let's call him Mr. Anyman. He's been sitting at this desk for years and years. The salary's not much, but it's been a steady, peaceful job. The trouble is, it's a bit too peaceful these days with so many of his friends on war work. Mr. Anyman feels out of it all, and he wants to be in it. But what can he do? At home, he's a bit of a handyman. What can he do? The answer's in his own hands, if only he realised it.
Oh, John, you're not at your old vice again. Now, come on, give them all away. I want to see them.
Oh, well, dear.
Go along, darling, put them all away.
Oh,
Come on.
very well.
At 8:40 next morning, he catches his usual train for the city.
Please, excuse me. Really. The untrained man can help himself and his country at the same time. Fixing some luxury cars. Confound it. Bunched together like sardines, no comfort. I should complain. You got this, I think. The ever-increasing measure of trained men. You can be one of them. Well, experience, retraining. This does not mean it's going to full details, any employment exchange. That's an idea.
And a few mornings later, there's a mysterious bulge in his pocket.
John, dear, what have you got there?
Oh, nothing.
Looks so untidy. What will the neighbors say? Hurry, dear, or you'll miss your train. Don't slam the gate.
All right, dear.
But he lets the 8:40 go without him, plucks up courage and calls at the local employment exchange.
Do you know anything about that sort of thing?
Well, a bit, you know.
You mean you repair these?
Well, in my spare time.
Oh, well.
And so Mr. Anyman gets his chance to become a craftsman. The exchange sends him to one of the government training centres. He finds himself among a crowd of other chaps, all eager to learn their new jobs. By the way, they're allowed to smoke here whenever they like. The first thing he learns is how to use the calipers and the micrometer, and then the hacksaw and the file.
Thank you.
It's a bit different from pen pushing, but most of the chaps are doing something very different from their old jobs. He was a stage designer. He was a clerk in West Africa. Here's a printer, and another printer. He was a salesman, and this chap was a ladies' tailor. They all get a money allowance while they're being trained, and a free dinner every day.
Boiled beef and carrots, my favourite dish.
The next thing he learns is to set up a job in the lathe and do a bit of turning. But it isn't as easy as it looks. And it doesn't even look easy to me. But after a month, he begins to get the hang of it.
I see. That's better.
And more than that, they tell him he's got the makings of a good engineer. He learns to handle more difficult and complicated tools. And he takes a course in arithmetic. But this is Mr. Anyman's meat.
Oh, me?
after 3 months of intensive training, he's almost as quick on the practical side. And as accurate. One more month and this is what they call a 6-way piece. It's a tricky little job. It's got to be right to the 10th of a thousandth of an inch. It's the most difficult thing he's attempted yet. If he can make it, they'll pass him out, a capable engineer. It's the final test. It's got to fit all 6 ways. And he's made it.
Is that all right? Oh, thank you so much.
And out into the factory he goes to join in the war effort. Full of confidence for the job he's been trained to do.
Yesterday is over your shoulder, don't turn round and say, I might have done this, I might have done that, just throw the thought away. Face the dawn of a tomorrow with a smile and come what may. Don't look over your shoulder, pal, it's a lovely day today. Oh, I never.
One of Ernie Bevan's men. Mr. Anyman, engineer.
John, what will the neighbors say?
Oh, none of the neighbors. I'm a British worker now.
Yeah, that's great. Retraining, learning a new job. That's what it should all be about, to be honest. So what am I doing here at the archive? I am folding up bankers boxes because we're going to move some more stuff. We have a bunch of books and a bunch of things at the archive. We're moving them away from some walls that are going to be repaired, etc. All right. So this one's missing the title, but it has got some great music to it. Bicycle safety. You can prevent an accident. Enjoy.
Today, nearly half the people in this country are riding bicycles. All ages get their kicks from this healthy form of recreation and transportation. Most likely, you're one of them. Are you really good at it? Or are you one of those free-fall artists? Do you know your bike's limits? What about your own? Well, in spite of all of the warnings and all of the laws and all the caution signs, the number of bike accidents is rising fast. Last year in this country, over 1 million children and adults were hurt in needless crashes.
Tom Lincoln 31 ambulance traffic 1572 Woodland bicycle versus vehicle.
10 Tom Lincoln 31, roger.
Every year in the United States, nearly 1,000 bicyclists are killed. And police studies show that whenever there's an accident, the bicyclist is usually at fault. Now, the purpose of this film is to prevent you from having that accident. Let's start with the bike you're going to buy. There are 3 basic styles to choose from. The standard, the high-rise, and the lightweights. Prices can range from $5 for a second-hand bike to over $300 for a fancy racer. The standard's wide tires and handlebars make it easy to balance, but with only one gear, it can be hard to pedal. This is a sports car of bikes, the high-rise. The small wheels and frame are great for stunts, but because of the small size, it's not very comfortable for long rides. And last, the lightweights. If you've never ridden one before, it may be a little tricky, but it's great for long distance. They've got gears, narrow tires, and a lightweight frame, so hills are no problem. When the pedaling gets tough, just shift into a lower gear. Choosing the right bike will make riding it more fun and a whole lot safer. Whichever bike you ride, make sure it fits you properly. The seat should be level to the ground. The handlebar is about the same height as the seat on most bikes. When seated, the ball of your foot should touch the ground, like this, while your bike stands straight upright. Before you take off, check the mechanical condition. Be sure your brakes work. Look over your tires. They should have good tread on them. And check the pressure to see they are firm. Your chain should be adjusted, not too loose, not too stiff, and lubricated with a lightweight oil. All the spokes should be tight, straight. Big repair jobs should be done by a trained serviceman, but good bike riders will look after these minor ones themselves. Any place you ride, any time, your surroundings are constantly changing. Be sharp. Stay alert for the unexpected. You can avoid dangerous hazards by driving defensively and listen for warning sounds. By being aware of your surroundings, you can prevent an accident. There are many techniques that will help make bicycling safer for you. When starting out, get on your bike from the side away from traffic. Then look in all directions to be sure it's safe to go. Now, you're a traffic vehicle, so keep to the right and ride with the flow of traffic. Knowing how to brake properly could save your life. With front and back wheel brakes, use both equally to stop. If you use only the front brake, your weight will be thrown forward, and the results, painful. In most areas, the law states your bicycle must have safety extras, like this one. A bell or horn that is loud enough to be heard. There are all kinds to choose from. Whatever you use, be sure it sounds off loud and clear. If you must ride at night, use a bright headlight and red reflectors on the back, along with a red tail light. A safety light, such as this, is also effective. Your pedals must have reflector strips. Also, mount a yellow reflector on the front wheel and a red reflector on the back. And up front, a white reflector. These reflective tires will help make you more visible, but riding at night is still dangerous. Wear light-colored clothing and be extra alert. Whenever you ride on the street, your bike is a traffic vehicle, so you must obey the same laws as motor vehicles. Now, some of those laws are spelled out on street signs. This is the most unpopular, the stop sign. Some people only slow down. That's breaking the law. But worse, it's dangerous. So always bring your bike to a full stop and take a look in all directions to make sure the way is clear. Then continue along and keep to the right. A yield sign warns you to slow down. Be prepared to stop. Check to see if it's safe before entering traffic. A one-way sign means just what it says. You may only travel in the direction of traffic. It doesn't matter whether you're 5 years old or 55 years old. The laws apply equally to all of us. So obey all street signs. They'll help prevent you from having an accident. A bike can't move as quickly as a motor vehicle. It takes longer to increase speed. So allow added margins of safety. For example, you're approaching a traffic signal and it turns to yellow before you've entered the intersection. Stop. The light will go red before you can make it safely through the intersection. If you enter an intersection on a green light and it turns yellow, get to the other side as quickly as possible. Watch out for emergency vehicles. When you see their lights or hear their sirens, pull over and stop. After they have gone by, continue along. Motor vehicles have lights that tell you what they're going to do. Bicycles don't have lights, so use arm signals. When signaling, use your left arm. For a right turn, stay close to the curb, check for hazards, then signal with your arm up. Turn with both hands on the bars and keep to the right. For a left turn, be sure it is safe. Then signal with your left arm straight out. Make left turns only where there's little or no traffic. To stop or slow down, check behind you, then point your left arm down. Use arm signals, then other vehicles will know what you're going to do. Busy areas like this are unsafe for left turns. Instead, slow down. If the signal is green and the way is clear, continue through the intersection. Once on the other side, stop and get off your bike. When it is safe, cross the street. And remember, you must always walk your bike in a crosswalk. Once out of the intersection, if the way is clear, continue along. When you carry books or bundles, put them in a basket or backpack so you can keep both hands on the handlebars. In some towns, bikes are allowed on the sidewalk, but in other towns, it's against the law. If you are allowed to ride on the sidewalk, remember, you're still a traffic vehicle, and the sidewalks are for pedestrians. So be courteous and respect their right of way.
Thank you.
Sidewalks are for their safety. In most cities and towns, you can get a ticket for riding illegally. So know the laws and obey them. Even if they seem unimportant, they've been made for good reasons. For example, the law says you must ride on the right side of the street and move with the traffic. Now, here's one good reason why. Other vehicles do not expect someone to be riding on the wrong side of the street, so they don't look for you. A driver usually looks only in the direction traffic should be coming from. Whenever you think a law is unimportant, remember, it was written to prevent an accident. Riding alongside of parked cars could be a hazard, so ride slowly, keep a safe distance away, and be extra alert, especially for car doors that may suddenly fly open. This girl saved herself an accident by staying alert and riding at a safe speed. Other things to watch for are street hazards, like oil, water, and gratings. Steer good and clear of them. Cars and trucks are the biggest threats. They don't always watch out for bicycles, so you must watch out for them. By driving defensively, you can prevent accidents that might have been caused by others. One of the biggest causes of serious accidents is entering the street without stopping. So always stop your bike. When you know it's safe, go ahead. This bicycle is designed for 2 people. Each person has a seat and handlebars for balance and stability. Others can be equipped with a sturdy seat for a small friend. These bikes are not designed for 2 people. This may be the quickest way to get your buddy to school, but it's dangerous and against the law. The driver can't see where he's going, and the weight makes steering difficult. Riding on the back is also against the law. The added weight could throw the bike off balance, or your foot could get jammed in the wheel. And worst of all, you're doubling your chances of having an accident. Be smart. If your bike's not legally designed for 2 people, ride alone. Bicycles are riding an all-time popularity boom. And right along with this new popularity, an old problem is growing even faster. Rip-offs. Bicycle theft. Every second of every day, a bike is stolen. While you're watching this film, there will be over 1,500 bicycle thefts. However, there are things you can do to prevent this. Whenever you leave your bike, lock it up. Use a heavy-duty cable or chain. Run it through the front wheel, around a fixed object, through the frame and back wheel, then secure it with a sturdy lock. Whenever possible, park your bike out in the open where you can keep your eye on it. Finally, you must register your bike. If it's ripped off and later found, the serial number will prove it's yours. But most important, in the event of a serious accident, a bike license will provide fast, life-saving contact between the hospital and the victim's family. Today, both kids and adults are more safety conscious than ever before. Yet the number of bicycle accidents continues to rise. Now, we've learned some of the reasons why, but there are other factors that we must consider. At the beginning of this film, a young boy was struck down by a car. He could handle a bike better than most of the kids in school. Yet he was the victim of an accident. Why? The driver of the car involved had always been a safe driver with a good record. So let's see just what did happen before that accident. The man driving the car was preoccupied. He never saw the boy until it was too late. Do you think the bike rider could have prevented this accident? Let's find out. He didn't want to be late for the game, so he was speeding with only one hand on the handlebars. In his rush to get to the park, he ran a stop sign. This tragic accident could have been prevented by the bicyclist. But it doesn't matter now whose fault it was. It happened. When a 3,000-pound vehicle hits a 30-pound bike, the bike loses. Be a winner. Drive safely. It's a lot of fun being alive. Stay that way.
According to Google, a bike is stolen every 3 minutes, which is different than what less bikes are being stolen than when this film was made. Yes. Anyways, so he was on Mission Impossible. Is that right? Is that what some people are saying? That he replaced Greg Morris? Who did he replace? I can't remember. All right, so earlier this week I showed a Tupperware film. Here is a follow-up. Well, this is not a follow-up. This is a different film, but it's probably made by the same people. This is Space Capades Jubilee. Enjoy.
A trip to the moon? No, but these Tupperware dealers, managers, and distributors will tell you that the Space Capades Jubilee is out of this world. Barbara Britton, Edgar Bergen, and other distinguished guests are escorted to the opening session by Tupperware executive staff members. Executive Vice President Gary McDonald introduces Father John Benton of St. John's Episcopal Church in Kissimmee.
We implore thee to pour down the divine dew of thy blessing upon this gathering of thy children who seek the increase of their knowledge and the refinement of their abilities.
Tupperware President Hamer Wilson introduces State Representative Mrs. Beth Johnson.
It's a pleasure and a privilege to be here with you today and to welcome you to this city of Orlando, which we fondly call the City Beautiful, to these counties of Osceola and Orange, and to the state of Florida. We are very proud that the Tupperware Sales Organization chose this as their home, and we're delighted to have them bring you here each year to this Jubilee.
Special guest on our first day is movie and TV star lovely Barbara Britton.
Supposing you're giving one of your parties, but a two-way mirror has been dropped between you and your guests. Now, they can still see and hear you, but you cannot see nor hear them. Well now, under these conditions, can you still sell Tupperware? Of course you can.
You lose some advantages, but you can still sell your product.
Distributors are awarded portable lecterns for exceeding their 4-month goal in a 3-month period. A special portable powered lectern and public address system for highest percentage increase over their sales goal is awarded to Mary Rita and Bob Wish High Sales. Another special lectern is awarded to Anna and Harvey Hollenbush of Hollenbush Sales for highest in volume over their sales goal. The Dealer Merit Award, highest honor for a Tupperware dealer, goes to Helen Mays, Darling Sales, winner in the eastern section of the country. Manager Merit Award winner is Georgia Smith Trio Sales. Her husband L.D. Smith and distributors Doris and George Crane take part in the ceremony. Now, distributors who have brought in the most dealers during the Space Capades recruiting period receive plaques honoring them for their achievements. The plaque names its winner as a Tupperware Space Pilot. Top Space Capaders are these dealers whose sales went into orbit during the pre-Jubilee contest. Satellite trophies go to distributors who have reached their special Space Capade sales goals. Guest speaker Mary Ann March, Test Kitchen Director of Echo Products.
There's more choice than ever on how to spend money. We all know that. There are more new materials, more new products, more new services on the market every day, competing for dollars.
Well, look who's here in outer space. Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy.
All right. I don't know why it is every time we make an appearance you manage to say something or do something to embarrass me.
Yeah, I'm reliable.
Yes, you are. Why is that? If you have your choice between right and wrong, you will always do the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Yes. Why?
Well, it's more fun.
More fun, I see. Every time you do the wrong thing, the devil laughs.
Must you drag my friends into this argument?
All right, all right.
Edgar also brought his friend Mortimer Snurd.
How are things going on the farm?
Well, there's always something going on. The stork visited a barn the other day.
Oh, did your cow calf?
No, my pig. Oh, I see.
We enjoy a visit from Effie Clinker, too.
Are you thinking of marrying anyone?
Well, just about anyone, yeah.
Yeah. What a day this has been. And there's more to come. Distributor enthusiasm brings on the Tupperware National Anthem. Mink Stole Recruiting Contest winners are announced. Virginia Hawthorne and Bill Red receive the mink for Virginia Bell Sales. Joe and Bill Carter, Stardust Sales. Helen and Harry Parker, Parker Sales. Pat Brown, Party Time Sales. Kitty and Charlie Pierce, Pierce Distributors. Gene and Jack Conlog, Multiple Sales. Tom Damagella, Damagella Distributors. Lois and Frank Burns, Bobby Burns Incorporated. Betty and Bill Blanar, Bill Mark Sales. Griggs Durham, Durham Distributors. Gene Kelly, Creative Sales. Phyllis and Jack Hale, Hale Sales. Kay and Walter Pease, Wall K Sales. Evelyn and Arnold Hannon, Arlen Sales. Ethel Garin, Colony Sales. Mary and Dale Rayner, Dalmar Sales. Margaret and Alan Gale, Alamar Plastics. Evelyn and Vernon Olson, Gala Sales. Louise and Charles Goss, Goss Distributors. Irene and Mert Ellis, Ellis Sales. Jean and Buddy Hampton, J&H Enterprises. Toby and Saul Levitt, Tobel Sales. Betty and Phil Hammett, Lynbrook Sales on the left, and Sally and Tom Fitzgerald, Norco Sales on the right. Naomi and Jack Lyons, Ceylon Sales. Barbara and Russ Goslin, Galaxy Enterprises. Sylvia Boyd, Humming Boyd Sales. Vi Sivak, VIP Sales. Bonnie Wagner, Kimrock Sales. Grace Cordray, Cordray Distributors. Thora Ostertag, FTO Sales, has Hamer put the stole on her daughter. Lynna and Bill Bieber, Bieber Sales. Mary Alice Brenner, Bright Star Sales. Jerry and Betty Shope of Shope Distributors. C.B. Stockwell, Stockwell Party Sales. Mildred and Julius Thompson, Mildred Thompson Incorporated. Verla Holtzlander, Holly Jane Sales, and Selma Johnson, Walton Sal Sales. Marguerite Roundtree, Lucy Ann Sales. Mildred and Ben Voss, Trotter Sales. Betty and Ed Blunt, at Bed Sales. Gladys and Elwin Moore, More and More Sales. Annabelle and Jim Hughes, Pyramid Party Sales. The second day of Jubilee. Everyone gathers in the front parking area to receive instructions on the unprecedented and mysterious project involving Tupperware canisters filled with over 42 colors of paint. Over 40 automobiles could be parked on this tremendous canvas. Each dealer and manager is assigned a number corresponding to a paint canister and a specific spot on this giant canvas. In volleys, they carefully execute the painting. No one knows exactly what it will be. The guesses are many, some very accurate, some very close, others far from the actual identity. Enthusiastically, the Tupperware folks apply themselves to the job. With determination, they paint their designated areas and wonder what their finished work will be. Directing the painting is sales promotion manager Pat Tahaney. And now, as the finishing touches are put on the canvas, the guesses become more accurate. We see now that it's a portrait of the President of the United States of America, Dwight D. Eisenhower. The dealers and managers assemble as a gigantic crane lifts the canvas over 6 stories high. This inspiring sight fills each of us with a sense of achievement. At the Western Jubilee, an unprecedented moment in history. The largest portraits in the world of the President of the United States of America and the First Lady. Afternoon classes begin with James Arch, Dale Carnegie course instructor.
Now, praise, what we're talking about, the eminent psychologist, Professor William James, he said the deepest principle in human nature is a craving to be appreciated.
H.T. Schulenberger, nationally known sales counselor and humorist.
You have taken time out of an important work week. You've spent your own money to come down here to Orlando and the Kissimmee area to share these little thoughts with other people. And I want to talk to you today about picking out a star to steer by. You'll never go any place in life unless you decide where it is that you'd like to go.
Glenn Bump, assistant advertising manager.
It's a matter of coverage. The more territory covered by Tupperware dealers, the more we can afford to spend on advertising because we can spend our advertising dollars more efficiently.
Hamer Wilson addresses the primary seminar classes.
And what is a manager's job and how simple is it? It's simply doing what you do as a dealer and saying to someone else, come with me and I'll show you the way. It's that simple. You're dealing more with people and you need to have a better understanding of people, and the only way that you can get that is by associating with as many people as possible.
Evening of the second day brings the most gala occasion of Jubilee, Fun Night. It starts with a fabulous dance act by Gene and Jack Conlog's Multiple Sales Company of Miami. Everyone moves into the front area. Chief Space Commando Gary McDonald gives instructions. Gifts are awarded in 7 categories according to the dealer's or manager's sales during the pre-Jubilee contest. First come those whose destination is Mercury. From a rocket blasted back to Earth, Jubileers find rich rewards. Venus travelers fire individual rockets using not jet power, but elbow grease. Their space mates retrieve the nose cones and meet their partners to claim their gifts at outer space stations. On Mars, the travelers who reach this amazing planet are met with king-size spaceograms. They thrust them into huge machines and out come their gifts. The tiny creatures of Jupiter readily bring their gifts from their mountain cave when the space Capades offer what they like most: lights for this dark planet. The rings of Saturn bring us riches when we pull them from the side of this strange world. On Neptune, the sky is filled with parachutes. On each one is a key which will unlock a rocket. Ah, but which rocket? That's the fun of life on Neptune. It's worth the trouble, though. Look at the exciting gifts. Now, the top 25. Pluto. Barbara Morgan, Arlen Sales. Eleanor Julie, Topper Sales. Bill Murray, More and More Sales. Dorothy Smith, More Sales. Sonia Cole, Virginia Bell Sales. Margaret Fry, Party Time Sales. Winnie Luff, Harold Plastics. Pat Stergel, Virginia Bell Sales. Doris Bennett, Holly Jane Sales. Betty Jo Spielman, Park Hill Sales. Joanne Upston, Fran Ed Sales. Betty Brown, Seal and Save Sales. Ella Holloway, Convenience Sales. Laureen Wayne, Havana Sales. Ray Jean Streetman, Party Time Sales. Dorothy Blaha, Partywise Enterprises. Betty Dodson, Hollenbush Parties. Georgina Tune, Cornhusker Sales. Margaret McGrady, The Butler Company. Esther Israel, Party Time Sales. Dorothy Morey, K-Mac Sales. Peggy Meldrum, Alamar Plastics. Shirley Murray, Party Time Sales. Marion Altmeyer, Goss Distributors. Leona Gerke, Topper Sales. The top 25 blasts off again. The number is Dorothy Smith's. Her extra gift is a Mercury Comet. Wow! This Jubilee is really going into orbit. She is congratulated by her distributors, Cleo and George Mormon, and interviewed by Gary and Hamer. And can't think of much to say. But what's this? Is there still something else? It can't be, but it is. Another comet. Who's this one for? Why, of course, her husband. Members of her unit run up to congratulate her, and so ends an exciting fun night. Next morning, it's back to classes. Pat Dehaney, Tupperware Sales Promotion Manager, addresses the primary seminar. Tupperware's bashful sales counselor, Bill Redmond.
That's all right, I guess, but I think I'd rather be a unit manager. And without having all these instructions, I think in the next few minutes that maybe I could make your job a little simpler if you'll just remember about 4 basic rules in getting dealers started.
Dick Whitmer, sales promotion, joins Bill in song.
It might have been in County Down, or old New York, or Gay Paris, or even London town. Great Scott, what a note. No more will I go all around the world, for I have found my world in you.
The dinner that evening is a formal banquet served in the giant dining tent. The major address by Dr. Kenneth McFarland, sales consultant for General Motors and the American Trucking Association.
Told me the other day about the preacher, got so absent-minded he couldn't remember any proper names at all. If he's going to use any proper names, he'd pin them inside his coat in the order that he was going to use them. He got up one Sunday morning to preach. He said, "And the Lord created man, and his name was Adam. And then the Lord created woman, and her name was Eve. And Adam and Eve had a son, and his name was Robert Hall."
We are honored by a visit from Mrs. America, Mrs. Rosemary Murphy of Kentland, Indiana.
I thought it was wonderful that I was introduced, and my husband will love him for it, introducing me as Mrs. George Murphy. He said he almost at various times feels like Prince Philip, 2 steps behind.
A dramatic highlight of the evening is the presentation of the highest distributor award in Tupperware, the Odd Astra Cup to Joe and Bill Carter's Stardust Sales, Medford, New Jersey. Vanguard Top 10 are called to the stage. Carrie Miller, Ellis Sales, top Vanguard manager at the Eastern Jubilee, will be provided with a 1961 Ford Fairlane 500 for 2 years. Gary announces that not only will Carrie receive the use of a car, but all of the top 10 will also be provided with cars. But what is Gary saying? Every Vanguard manager in the country will be provided with a car on the same basis. But listen to what happens next. Every manager in the Tupperware world will be provided with a 1961 Ford Fairlane. Can it be possible? Is it true? Yes, girls, it is true. If you didn't believe when you came to Jubilee that you were going into orbit in outer space, you can believe it now. Models of the Ford Fairlane are presented to all managers to remind them of the actual cars they will be driving in just a few weeks. They do things fast here in outer space. It's the Kissimmee Gazette Jubilee Extra presented as we arrive on the last day. And look, girls, a Ford Fairlane 500. Ours will be a 1961 model. Just be patient. Back to classes, and we hear Tupperware sales counselor Jack McCall.
And becoming a leader, realize this, and remember this always. You need not ever exploit any individual. Now, we as individuals may need to somewhat exploit ourselves, our own ability, but we do not need and desire to exploit another person.
Tony Ponticelli, manager of special events, reminds us that Tupperware parties are special events too. At luncheon, the Vanguard managers are honored with a special cake and special service at their own table. On stage, there are skits and songs throughout each mealtime. After the noon meal, we hear sales counselor Fred Strahl.
I believe that a manager earns the right to manage other people only after they have learned to manage themselves. This means managing their business, managing their parties as dealers, managing the way they bring new people into the business and train them and teach them and see that they succeed.
Sam Yeiter, Tupperware sales counselor, speaks in the Garden Pavilion.
I feel this way, that your success depends upon this ability or capability to date parties, doggone it.
Jack Mann, popular sales counselor, speaks.
Thomas Wilson once said that friendship can only be purchased by friendship. A man may have influence over others, but he can never have their heart except by giving his own.
Every Tupperware Jubilee ends with a formal graduation. The commencement address is delivered by President Hamer Wilson.
So in the months and years to come, even though we may have to wear our 7-league boots to greet you, and even though our steps increase in number and length, we must always look to our side and remember the creed that unites us. In Tupperware, you never walk alone. As you return from our journey together through the space capades, let the stars light the way and the sun shine brightly on your path. May God go ahead of you to make safe your journey home. Good night, and bless you.
As we leave, we see a spaceship circling the Earth, all on Tupper Lake. And a brilliant fireworks display sends us on our way. While the Tupperware staff and their wives wave us farewell and a safe voyage home.
Holy cow. That was crazy. That was so insane. And that wasn't even selling Tupperware to people. That was all the infrastructure to sell Tupperware. And the fact that they gave cars to all those managers, man, that's nuts. And all that stuff was really crazy. Wow. Yes, big fan. Big fan. And all those names, people lost to history. You know, maybe that somebody's grandkid. It's like, oh yeah, I remember pictures. But yeah. Thanks for joining us today. And this week was great. Very much appreciate your eyeballs and your comments and your donations via the Super Thanks button or ko-fi.com/avgeeks or patreon.com/avgeeks. Those are all great ways to support us. But even just watching the films that we are adding online. I said this, I think, yesterday. My goal is to get 10,000 films online in the next couple of months. I think, so let me see. I'm going to do some math while we're here. I'm going to use a calculator. So 10,000 minus 8,700, which is basically how many films we have online. It's 1,300 divided by 24 equals 54 days. So 2 months. That's the plan. And that's not even including the live shows that we're doing. So you get a film, and you get a film, and you get a film. Thanks again. Everybody have a great weekend, and we will see you on Monday. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.